Greetings and welcome to another exciting episode of the Why I Love Disney podcast. I'm Dustin. As always, I'm here with my friends David and Easton. How are you fellas?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Well, we've survived. We avoided a civil war this weekend. Trump is alive and well, and we were just talking about that as we came in. And crazy times we're living in. I don't know how that's Disney related, but I think every person is grateful that it wasn't worse than it could have been, and we're glad that the former president is okay. Violence sucks of all forms. Political violence is something that, we've seen little rumblings of things with Disney and protesters with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. We were just talking about more of a theme of our. I hate to start off on this note, by the way. Hope you guys are well. But the theme of has been of this podcast. If you've been a listener, you've noticed that we've gotten a little more negative generally, and it's been difficult. We try hard just to tell. This is called Why I Love Disney. But the overall tone and tenor of just the way the world is right now is one of those things that there's just everybody's at each other's throats. The idea that people will take things and are so hypersensitive and taking things that are good and wholesome and family friendly and trying to twist them and turn them into something else has just been a little frustrating these days. And we're all hoping that someone will come along to make Disney great again. And I think in our last episode we asked the question, and I've thought about this a lot. Is this the worst time to be a Disney fan? And I hate to start off with that because we got a lot of positive Disney news. Inside Out is the highest grossing Pixar movie ever. And Inside Out 2, I should say. And it's legitimately good. We've all seen it and we all enjoyed that. But what about you? Have you thought any more about our talk? It's been about 3 weeks. I've been out of the country and I have some things to share about that too. But what do you guys think? Have you thought any more about it?
Yeah, well, last time we met, you were you're about to get on an airplane, so we did it from the airport.
That is true. We got that episode done, and I was gone for 2 weeks to Europe. I spent a day in Greece, a week in Albania, and a couple of days in Rome, in Italy, and had an awesome time, by the way. I was going to tell you all the Disney films I watched on the plane, but I didn't watch any of them. I watched no Disney movies. I went through the list of movies I watched on the way over. What did I watch? I watched Parasite. The Korean film.
There you go.
That won Best Picture. I'd been wanting to watch that for a long time. Let me tell you, that's legit. It's a good movie, really good movie. It's subtitled, so you got to be ready for that. Little extra mental energy. And then I watched. I rewatched The Usual Suspects with Stephen Baldwin and Benicio del Toro and what's the guy that got canceled that was on. What's his name? Great actor on House of Cards on Netflix. You know what I'm talking about. Seven. What's in the box? The bad guy. Come on, Easton. What's his name?
Was it Kevin Spacey?
Yes, Kevin Spacey. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. That was not the reference. There was 100 other movies I would have picked before that.
Well, I know because Easton always says what's in the box when we're around.
True.
He always references Seven, and
That's
I know
true.
Kevin Spacey's standing there, so I'm like, that's the one I thought that would get Easton to jump on. Give me his name. Yeah, Kevin Spacey. It's amazing. The guy gets canceled. I can't even think of his name anymore. A while he was like the greatest, one of the greatest living actors. But anyhow, great movie, holds up. And then I watched Moneyball. Have you with Brad Pitt about the Billy Bean and the Oakland A's? It's fantastic.
I saw that years ago. Yeah,
based on a true story and also good. But I didn't watch one Disney film, not one. But there wasn't anything on the list I hadn't seen before. Look, the Wish was on there. I could have watched Wish, but I wasn't going to waste my time with that. So that tells you.
I don't think I've ever watched. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever watched a Disney movie on the plane.
Really? Is this a Disney-free zone for you? Like, what's the deal?
No, I maybe it's because I've already seen anything that they put on there, or I would likely have something else already loaded on my phone or computer, and I just don't watch theirs. I don't know. There's always something weird about when you're watching a movie and you realize everybody's watching what you're watching.
That's a good point.
Maybe if I was sitting there with my family watching Wish, but if it was just me sitting there by myself.
Who's this old dude with a beard watching Wish?
Well, maybe, yeah.
But they almost always have The Incredibles on the plane. You can always watch that.
That's true.
Yeah,
Used to,
always.
they would have edits. Like in all the movies, remember they show one movie to the whole cabin, and they would tell you back in the day, like today's select, there'd be 2 movies they're going to show, right? And everybody watches it together. and they were all edited, right? There was no cursing. All the sex scenes were out. All the very violent scenes, they would do an airplane edit, right, for these things.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so you would get, when I was a kid, it was so excited. I could usually watch a rated R movie, without, because my parents weren't as concerned. Now you have a library, and then they're not edited. Let me tell you.
No, they're not.
I know it.
Yeah, and that's I was have a funny story. Last year when we went, I watched John Wick, right? And I was sitting next to this nice little old lady, this nice little Greek old grandma next to me, and it was overnight, middle of the night. I thought she was sleeping, but then he starts like killing people and blood splurting and I find myself, I'm covering up the screen because I'm really I'm worried she's gonna see this, and so I was all around just uncomfortable watching John Wick on the airplane, so maybe we need to figure this out. Maybe we need to go back to edited movies for people.
I have found myself, I've got ADD enough that I have a hard time even focusing on my movie because I can see like 5 other people's screens, and I'm watching that, and then I'm like, good night. He's bold to watch that right there.
You're judging everybody around you.
Yeah, there she's watching this, and it's just like I wish that I couldn't see more screens. So I usually look at my phone because if I'm looking up, I can see what everybody else is watching, and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? So
that's a great point.
Yeah, I did watch John Wick on a plane. I did watch John. I had not seen those, so I watched the first one. I did watch that on a plane.
Yeah,
and did go through that same thing. Like I'm wondering if anybody's being triggered by all this killing that I'm watching. That I lost track of the body count at some point. Like this is crazy, but
yeah. Well, either way, we got there. We had a great time while we were over there. It was super hot. There was no Disney related things that happened to me whatsoever. I will tell you this. I could maybe use Easton's help on this. I tried my best to, on my computer, download the Acolyte. My goal was on the plane to watch the full, catch up on the Acolyte, to finally get down to, is this good or is this crap? I've heard mostly crap, but a few people I trust say, hey, once you get into episode 5, it gets good again. So I was just going to find out for myself, but unfortunately, I can't figure out how to download the stuff to watch offline. I got that. It's an old man moment, I guess, and I'm not considering myself super old, but I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I did not get to watch the Acolyte on the airplane. Easton,
I know how to do that. So
well, I'll have to get lessons. I'll have to get lessons. Can you do it on your laptop, like on a computer, or do you have to do it on your phone or something?
Actually, I really haven't tried to download something from Disney.
You're okay.
I think I did. I think I did download it, that Imagineering story at some point. So I do think I have done that, but I don't remember right now.
They keep changing it up. There's a new update, and then everything. It's why do they do that to us, old men?
You certainly couldn't pull it off if you were already in the airport.
Right, the terrible Wi-Fi. You're exactly right.
Oh yeah, so that could have been part of your trouble. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, what Disney news do we have to start and talk about? I was looking through here. It looks like a little bit. There's a couple little good things. Inside Out 2 broke all the records for Pixar movies. Made more money than any other Pixar movie ever. Is that adjusted for inflation, or do we know?
I don't think it's adjusted for inflation. I think it's just, but it's really great that they have a hit. I hope that it translates to, more hits, and I hope it translates to better things in the parks. But I don't think it's probably adjusted for inflation. We don't really see them do that very often. They're not really usually trying to compare things to hits from the past. They just want to be the biggest thing in the box office right now.
Well, they are, and I also think you're agreed. We're always glad they get a hit because that might mean more hits. But more than that, I'm glad it was actually legitimately good. We got a great story. It's a hit that's worthy of its hit status, right?
Yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun pulling for a team that feels like, oh, they lost again.
Yep.
Oh, they lost again.
Absolutely. And
it's felt like that for about a year or so.
And when does Deadpool come out?
As of this recording, next week.
Next week. All right. So it should be. Now, you do have a smaller audience because of the rating, right? Mm-hmm. Like my kids won't be watching that.
Right.
But you still expect that to be a big box office smash, right?
I expect it to. I expect a lot of people to be there. Actually, we were just talking you stepped out for a second and we were just talking. I'd said a couple weeks ago I was going to hurry up and get those tickets, but I had been so busy I had not gotten around to it yet. So I just got us tickets to go see it next week.
And you were able to get in, no problem?
I've never been to an R-rated movie.
Oh no!
Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
you do on an air? We just admitted to John Wick on an airplane.
Yeah, but no, I'm like, oh, hey, I just heard that that they're going to make them part of the Avengers. Have you guys heard that?
I have heard there's some crossover. That's
The
Avengers
movie, I should say, not that they're Avengers, but they're going to be in it. There's rumors going around that they're part of whatever's coming.
Well, I could see, like, they integrated, I thought, the Guardians of the Galaxy really well into those movies, right?
Yeah.
They're not Avengers, but the universe crosses over enough to where that worked really well, and hopefully they can figure this out where they can provide. So they're great characters. I mean, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool are two iconic
incredible characters.
Well, they're also major movie stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're much bigger. They're much bigger stars than everybody we were hearing is going to be in the lineup of the next movies. It seems like.
Yeah, and you're still replacing Robert Downey Jr., which is kind of hard to do. That helps.
I'd heard a rumor of Ryan Gosling being a character that he had shown interest in doing somebody. Anyway,
that'd be interesting.
You just never know who they might pull in.
Yeah.
I just read that. I don't know if it's confirmed or if it's just in talks right now. And I wish I could find the article I just looked at, but it was that Disney and Marvel is trying to get the Russo brothers to come back for their next two Avengers movies, to direct the next two Avengers movies. And I hope that they...
Good move.
Yeah, I hope that they just, like, whatever the Russo brothers want, give it to them.
Yep.
Let them direct it, because all of their stuff has been really great.
Yeah. So, prediction. I want your prediction. Does Deadpool go over $1 billion?
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I think yes, unless the R-rated fixes it and it won't work. I mean, like if people can't go because of the rating.
I think it will. I think it'll all depend on its opening weekend. If its opening weekend doesn't do very well, it may. I think it's just going to depend on this word of mouth and people's reactions to this next Thursday through Sunday, however it does for that opening weekend. I'm
gonna go out. My prediction is no, it won't hit $1 billion, but it's still gonna be incredibly successful. And I think the reason is because it's a true R-rated movie, right? Like it's not like a soft R like Gladiator.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
it's gonna be
nobody under 17 is getting in there unless you're with your parents, and a lot of parents like me are not gonna bring their kids to see this movie because it's true R, right? So I think for that reason,
R is. I think if the word gets out that it's just the language, it's totally the language, then people will do one thing, and if they go, oh no, there's a lot of gratuitous things in there, then that will certainly be a barrier to some people. And then if it's violence, that's a whole different thing too. So it's just going to come down to what causes it.
Well, it's going to be language. It's going to be violence.
You're just wondering if there's any nudity.
Yeah.
But either way, like even excessive profanity to me, it's like I don't want my kids.
Right.
Right. And there is gonna be dirty jokes. It's gonna be it's gonna be Deadpool, which it is what it is. Which I think it puts a ceiling on its money making. They went artistic rather than full on PG-13. They could have made a couple $1 billion with this, and for whatever reason, maybe that's a future. That's interesting to me, right? Remember there was a big uproar when they thought it might be PG-13, and when they announced, there was a big press release, right? A big deal when they said, no, this is going to be R. And all the fans are like, yeah, which is interesting to me about this one in particular.
I think you would have, like what we're talking about with, I think you saying it's not going to hit $1 billion because of the fact that it's R. I think if they had went the PG-13 route, I think it would do the same thing, just the flip side. Like all the fans that would really want it to be R would be like, I'm not going to go see a PG-13 Deadpool movie.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well,
but they would go see it if it was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would go to the theater and pay necessarily to support that in this case, but I've got to go cover Easton's eyes.
Yeah, there you go. It is. We are podcasters. We have a news source to. We have a responsibility to report to the people. We're doing our jobs in a sense, right, David?
Yeah,
all
I
this
gotta
is-
be there
this
to go.
is this
Cover
is for
your eyes,
work.
turn your head.
Yeah.
Going to see this movie is strictly for this podcast for work purposes.
There you go.
This is not
Yeah.
for fun. We don't.
Easton, you've already said you're the biggest Deadpool fan of all. and I've
Yeah,
been looking
he's
forward to this for
absolutely
years.
my favorite superhero of all time ever. No. Spider-Man's the guy. He's the guy.
I did look, man. You're the Russo brothers in talks to direct next two Avengers movies. Like I just Googled that, and this is Variety, Hollywood Reporter, and they don't leak this stuff unless it's likely to happen. So that's good. I think that's great news.
Yeah,
for the Marvel franchise.
I hope it really does.
Speaking of, one time I did watch a Russo brothers movie on the plane, where their production company was involved in this. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I watched that one too.
Okay.
And while I did not love it, it won Best Picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't love. I was disappointed a little bit, but it was incredibly creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give them that. So, and now they didn't direct the movie, so there's that too. But just a little Russo brothers.
Yeah, we had just watched
note on
in the last week or two. We just watched a Russo brothers directed movie that I had been wanting to see. We watched The Gray Man with
Okay.
Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling.
And
I loved it. Personally,
right.
I thought it was really good. It was really like full on action movie.
Oh yeah, I watched that with you.
Yeah.
I just realized. Oh yeah, I watched that.
well, it's
Yeah.
it's not a memorable name.
No, it's
the
not.
Gray Man. It
But
could
it
have
was
been
a
like the
good
Purple
plot.
Man or
I thought the plot was
Something
really
brighter.
awesome.
coming out here. I know the big one that kind of got David worked up. I say that with complete. Is
What?
this?
Are you calling me a curmudgeon?
No,
What is that?
no. You did. I do like your new title. You did David the Disney curmudgeon on your little tag here. So but either way, the Country Bear Jamboree is back up, right?
That's right.
And of course, nothing Disney does these days can happen unless they make some people mad somehow. And to be honest with you, this seems like a silly thing to me. David, do you want to explain the controversy here?
Well, I think it's a small thing. To me, it's a small thing. The thing that's weird is that it starts taking over the internet, like so many things do that Disney does, where they ruffle feathers one way or another. But first of all, I want to say that probably there's some people that are just relieved that Country Bears is back.
True.
The last few times that we've gone, it's nostalgic to me. It's been there since I was a kid. It's one of the big e-ticket things I remember going to. That was one of the biggest shows that you went to back in the day when I was a kid, and so. But I've just noticed that through the years when we would go, like people aren't laughing anymore. They're not. It's a smaller crowd. It's an older crowd, or it's just people bringing in some little kids for because it's hot.
An air conditioning break. Yep.
And you can kind of tell. Like I could tell my kids early on. They're not tracking with this. They're not. It's like there's a barrier where they're not getting it, and I can't. How do I get them? I want my kids to love this, but I can feel they're not getting they're not blown away by it because they've seen stuff like this even at Chuck E. Cheese. They're just not animatronic animals aren't blowing them away. The show's not grabbing them. I've always thought that the sound felt far away, and I don't know, just weird things like that. I kept saying this needs to be done, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they need to bring in some. Well, the other thing that bothered me is a lot of people don't probably know this. That those are real country songs. They're not. I always kind of felt like, man, this always feels like they're parodying country music, and it's off. Like this doesn't feel culturally like country music anymore. So kind of like if you love country music, you're like, this doesn't sound like country music. This is like they're making fun of country music. But they were all comedy country songs from the 60s. They were like comedy country acts.
Right.
So songs like Mama Don't Whoop Little Buford, I Think You Should Shoot Him Instead. That was a real song, like a real country act, but it was parody. They weren't real country songs. beer will be a chaser for your wine. Like they were real songs they pulled off of comedy country albums and threw them on the stage. So they weren't made up. They weren't written by Tex Ritter, who was John Ritter's dad, was Big Al, and he was a country star. And they got him in there to do Big Al singing "Blood on the Saddle." Like all that was like actually really old country comedy classic stuff from the 60s when they're putting all that stuff together, early 70s. So but it's not aged. Like it's not that it's bad, but you could just tell people don't get it. And so it's like a joke that people aren't laughing at. So I've known they needed to do something. I thought, well, man, they could bring in can they bring in some country artist to revitalize this? Can they bring in some name brands that people will go, oh, they've got Luke Bryan doing a voice, or they've got Reba McEntire doing a voice? Who could they? But there's like really nobody they can ever really trust anymore, because as soon as they put a movie star or a celebrity in an attraction, there's a good chance that something culturally will happen to make that person canceled. And so anyway, I was like, what will they do? So then they announced, oh, they're going to make it Disney songs. It's like, well, I mean, that's going to make some people really mad. I mean, I can, and I know and people are going to dislike that they changed the show, but maybe they just add something in there for kids that kids would get and revitalize the humor a little bit. It'll give it some life. And for those of us who grew up with it, it won't completely go away. So I am glad that they did something. What has, the crazy thing that came out this week was that well, not this week, it's been out for a couple of months, but that they're changing a character's name because of more sensitivity issues. And that's been my main thing. It's like they can't do a single attraction lately where it doesn't come out that they're changing something for sensitivity issues. It's like, can you not figure out how to make a change without it being a political news story? Everything you do, from the Haunted Mansion, there's things going around, Jungle Book stuff, we had to go through it with that. Pirates, we had it. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, we had it. The whole idea of Frontierland seems to be controversial now. I mean, it's like, just gets so old. And, and then every time they do something, there's always a group pushing back that, will say, I don't even know where you're coming from on that. In this case, they're changing a name of one of the bears because they say it was insensitive to a racially insensitive name, and then another that it was insensitive to people who struggle with alcohol abuse. And but a lot of people come back saying, I've never ever heard that as that kind of thing. So it's just interesting. This is always something, and it just gets old. It just takes the joy out of everything. That, oh man, there's a great thing. Oh no, we've got another issue. There's an issue with everything they have. So at the point you're just like, well, if it's got all those issues, I just don't know that I want to come anymore. I'll go somewhere. Yeah. There don't seem to be any issues over at Universal. Maybe I'll just go over there.
Yeah.
All right, that's my curmudgeon rant. So
well, why do you think I'm like you, David. Like if you were to ask me 5 years ago, go through the Magic Kingdom and tell me what won't be here in 5 to 10 years, Country Bear Jamboree would be at the top of that list, right? It would just seem to me like that's going to get axed for something else, right? Some sort of different IP. But you do go back and they've made a movie out of this, right? They've invested a lot into
that was about 25 years ago.
But still, you know what I mean? Like,
and it flopped. And it probably has like a 15 on Rotten Tomatoes. It was, yeah.
All right, but either way, more reason why it probably wouldn't have survived. So I am grateful that they're sticking with it, right? This is actually, in a way, Disney, listening to its people and fans and in a small segment. I very highly doubt that most Disney park goers, the average park goer would care one way or another if this stayed or gone. This matters a lot to the old school crowd, right? The traditional crowd, guys like me and you that remember this as a kid and have huge nostalgic ties to it. And so I do think it's like a nice thing that it's still around and it's updated, but
I also do. I agree as well. I just wish that they could figure out a way not to have something like that with every. It's just like a Debbie Downer on everything that they do. There
Right.
always has to be a wah wah.
Yeah.
Why
You
can't
know,
it, again? There's not a way to change a name of a character without us knowing. You know what I mean? Like without saying this is why, and just want you all to know we're doing this. You know, like
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like maybe even don't tell us, and we wouldn't have even hardly noticed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Well, there'll be always somebody that knows who's going to just push, and but there's also this proudness that like yes, we're we must make changes because we are superior in our thinking over everybody else. And
right.
it's like, what is this? Where do you get this? I don't know. It's just everything they do. There's just a Debbie Downer moment. So you kind of push through it. But then you go to the park and you're in the show, and that creeps into your head. Oh, there's that character. They changed his name because he was, you know, now he's the. I mean, it's just you just wish that you didn't have those thoughts as you're on a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree. I agree with both of you on everything you said, but I will say to take just a bit of a positive spin on the whole thing is they released the soundtrack I think yesterday of the new songs, and they're all like country kind of bluegrassy spins on some of the Disney songs that they're doing. And if you guys have some time to listen to them, you guys should listen to them because some of them are actually pretty good.
cool. All
Well,
right.
they did all the music in Nashville, and they got I'm sure it's going to sound great, and I thought that they would probably somehow keep the classic "Blood on the Saddle," but apparently that's gone too. They kept some songs, they replaced some songs, um, but it's I'm sure it's going to be good, and it's just going to be different. But I'm glad that it's staying around.
We have Captain America: Brave New World. The teaser trailer is out. And up until I saw the teaser trailer, I didn't know Harrison Ford was in the movie, which makes it far more appealing to me.
Oh, you
I know
did?
I did not know this. I did not pay. If I did, I didn't pay attention. So I'm excited about this. You know, what do you think? Would you guys watch the trailer? Like, what are your thoughts? Have seen this teaser trailer? This comes out next year, correct?
In February.
I did see that the budget was up, getting close to 400 million. So I hope it's incredible. It sounds like a lot of reshoots, a lot of redo. So I hope it's great. I want it to be great, really bad. I really want to. I want to get back. I want the Marvel to take off again.
I think it has potential to be great. It looks like it's kind of fun. It looks like a fun movie to watch. I think it's a 2-minute teaser trailer, so they're going to try to put all of their best stuff in those short little 2 minutes to get everyone excited. But yeah, I think Harrison Ford will add to the excitement for a lot of people because everyone, there's not a lot of people who don't love Harrison Ford.
Super.
What
cool.
about you, Dustin?
No, I would, it's been kind of off my radar. So when I watched the trailer, the little teaser trailer, I too thought this looks pretty cool. Like I actually the Disney Plus series with Captain America. I remember enjoying that. I remember thinking it was really good. One of the early Marvel series that came out on Disney Plus, and I really enjoyed it. So in that vein, it looks and feels kind of like an old school action movie, and that's what I love about Marvel generally is that every Marvel character, the movie might feel like a different genre, of film, right? And this feels like, just old school action movie, right? And so I'm excited about it. I really am. I'll definitely be there to see it, and I hope it's great. Will it be or not? I don't know. I'd say flip a coin on that, but I'm definitely gonna check it out. What other news do we have? Is there anything else going on this week? Or we pretty much hit it all?
Well, I mean, there's well.
Go ahead and say it, David. Go ahead.
My brain. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something negative, and then you stopped yourself. We want to hear all the curmudgeon thoughts.
And another thing, I'll tell you. Back in my day.
That should be your voice go from now on. You should just kind of go with that. I love it.
Oh, I feel like what's his name, Carl from. And I'm not that old. I'm really not. I'm not a grandpa. I'm not a grandpa, but I'm telling you, culture these days, it just kind of pushes you to like, are you kidding me? It's just bonkers. You just every day you turn on, you go, wow, the world just tilted a little bit more towards bonkers. It's just crazy. No, I did see. I was telling Easton that there's more talk. They're redoing Haunted Mansion, so there's also talk that they've got to take out the stretching room scene where there's a body, hanging from the ceiling. That's going to have to go for sensitivity reasons, and uh, you know,
We're getting soft, I tell you. We're getting soft.
I go, that's not a real person. Um, it's you can't, most people don't even realize that it's even there.
Yeah.
They don't even, and again, if they can figure out another way to do it, that something scary happens, that I literally I have no attachment to that little blip of a second in the attraction. But what you don't want to see is like some projection on the ceiling now that's like wah wah, and it's like another downgrade.
Well,
it's not scary. It's not.
yeah,
It's
you
just
made the point over across the couple miles down the road. They're chasing you with chainsaws. You know what I mean? Like
oh yeah.
Universal.
We got to be sensitive to people that might have had, and I know that everything's not. I mean, if I'd had someone that I knew a loved one that had gone that way, I would have been like, I don't want to go see that.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
that would trigger me.
100%.
Absolutely.
But that is such a small percentage of people. And so this idea that we have, it's like nobody thinks that. I mean, I remember going to spook houses at the county fair growing up. That was a very common thing to see outside of an attraction.
Yeah.
Outside of an attraction, because that was a scary thing you could put up there. A mannequin.
Yeah.
It's a mannequin, and everybody knew it was a mannequin, but it's spooky, and you'd never see that now because everybody takes everything like, oh, that has nothing to do. That's not any kind of statement other than it's supposed to be spooky, and everything's had to be changed because people read into everything, and so anyway. It's one of those things where you go, is it triggering people because of this? Oh no, it might not be that. It might be that it's triggering people because of this. We can find like 5 different ways that one little thing can trigger somebody. But over at Universal, we can have people running around at Halloween Horror Nights chasing people with chainsaws. We have blood everywhere. We have all these horrendous things that if you said, well, what if we can't do any of that because somebody might have been through some horrible attack and that might trigger them. Well, I know they don't think anything about that, but over on the other side of Orlando, we have to constantly be going, we got to be sensitive. It's just blows me away.
That's the thing too. Like we have personal choice as well, and what I don't like is for instance, I don't watch a lot of horror movies myself, just generally. And again, I don't like them. I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't want to think about or see some of that's a personal choice. Mm-hmm. But I would never be. They didn't need to make horror movies anymore, right? I would just avoid them myself, right? And we've lost a lot of that. We have to look out for what other people might think rather than just make something great, and maybe put a warning, which I'm sure there are everywhere. There's things in here that might be disturbing. There's different ways to do that, but now it's just amazing how culture has changed so much that we, are, and some people might argue it's better, but I just sort of I don't know.
Well, and here's the crazy thing. Another crazy thing is that, they announced that Epic Universe is going to have Universal Monsters Land. So that was like, man, I am so excited about this. And when I saw the preliminaries, like they're building this big windmill that's from the original Frankenstein, I'm thinking, oh, that's really cool. And because I thought this is a great thing where you can have the original Universal monsters were in their time were terrifying. Now I know they're not anymore to most people because they've seen so much graphic violence on in movies that those movies are more like gothic, spooky now. But I thought this is a great chance to do something that's really scary. That doesn't have to be like Halloween Horror Nights. It doesn't have to be blood. It doesn't have to be chainsaws. And then instead of being like we're gonna create something for the whole family, they go no, we're gonna reimagine it. They use the Disney reimagine word and go we're gonna have to make it scarier. We're gonna update the characters. They're not gonna look like they used to. Now they're gonna be bloodier and they're gonna be more. There's more blood, more scars, more. It's like the exact opposite. Like we're gonna reimagine it and make it more thrilling as opposed to Disney on the other way going. We gotta take out we gotta take voodoo out of Tiana's Bayou Adventure because that might upset some people. Now we gotta take this out of this because it might upset some people. It's just constant. So anyway. I mean, we always have YouTube. We can always go back and see what things were like before.
That's right.
I guess. But I mean, I love Disney. I really do. It's just it is such a frustrating time to constantly be like in a political issue on every little news item. I can't figure it out. I can't figure out if it's just YouTube that creates that. I don't think it really is. I think it's Disney that creates it. So I'm hoping this is a trend that eventually we get over it. But anyway.
Well, I think we hit about everything. Unless, Easton, you got anything else to add in here? Any other news we're missing?
I think we hit
Any other ideas about how to make Disney great again?
Oh, well, you know.
I got a good one. Drop the price 20%. That'd be an awesome one for me, but I understand. Got that stock price.
We got to borrow from the parks to pay for the movies.
There you go. Well, if that's it, I would say to our listeners, thank you for sticking in here with us. We appreciate you as always. We would love to know your thoughts on what would make Disney great again, or why is Disney great already? You share David's concerns, or all of our, or do you think, hey, things are going along just swimmingly, never loved Disney more? I would bet there's a variety of opinions, but at the same time, I think you think more like us because I think we're right, generally speaking. But we'd love your 5-star review either way, because we do hope you found this at least interesting and captivating and somewhat entertaining. Until next time, we thank you for your time. You can find us at Instagram, you can find us on Twitter, and at whyilovedisney.com. And we appreciate your time. And until next time, so long.